Was talking about that tonight on NBC, that was maybe the biggest shock in Virginia. It's being discussed nationwide and sends a clear message to the Obama White House.
Ryan Nobles is in our Decision Virginia Election Center with more on that and other key developments tonight. The 9th District, one of 3 big upsets in Virginia.
That's right, Kurt and Sabrina. When we went into the night, we were looking at our map of Virginia, and there were 4 congressional districts that we're keeping a close eye on that we considered contested races. And of those 4, it was really considered a big victory for the Republicans if they were able to win at least 2 of them. Let's take a look at those districts right now. First was the 5th, which was, of course, the Perriello-Hurt race, one of the most hotly anticipated races in the entire country. That was expected to go into Republican hands. The second out in Virginia, that was Glenn Nye and Scott Ridgell. Glenn Nye, the incumbent Democrat. Republicans hopeful there. The 9th would have been a little bit of a stretch for the Republicans to win down in Southwest Virginia. Rick Boucher, the longtime congressman there. And then up in the 11th is Jerry Conley. That was at one time Tom Davis, a former Republican seat. Let's take a look at what the results are now. You can see a very big Republican win. The 5th went to Republicans as expected. The 2nd also going to Republicans as expected. This, down in the 9th, a bit of a surprise. And it was one of these early indications that this entire country was going to go Republican when Boucher was upset in the 9th district. Now, as you can see, the 11th is just a tiny little district up here, but there are a lot of people. This is in the Washington, D.C. suburbs. Right now, that is barely holding on for Jerry Conley. He leads by less than 1,000 votes. This will probably go to a recount. More than likely, it will also go to the absentee ballots before we know who won there. So it's possible that Republicans could take all 4 of these contested seats. Let's bring in our political analyst now, Dr. Dan Palazzolo from the University of Richmond. We talk about the 7th district. This wasn't very hotly contested, of course, Dan. That's Eric Cantor's seat. But basically, on the strength of what happened here in Virginia and across the country, Cantor is really poised to become one of the most powerful people in government, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. And there's some big questions out there for the country to settle. Robert Hurt talked about the debt and the economy. It turns out that Eric Cantor is going to have a big seat at a big table here pretty soon.
And when you look at the way that this map ended up turning so red, should Republicans not get too excited about what this means long term? Of course, Virginia was pretty reliable red when it came to presidential races over some time. But does this actually, what this indicates is that the Virginia voter is actually pretty fickle, and depending on the mood of the country, Virginia can float back and forth between blue and red depending on what's going on in the country?
Well, we've talked about this before. I think there's no question that Virginia is a battleground state. If you look at each district, you see something a little different. I think Boucher's district is pretty much a Republican district to begin with, and that one probably just got straightened out. But I expect the 5th district and the 2nd district and possibly the 11th district to be battlegrounds again in 2 years.
All right, so we'll be talking a lot about these pivotal districts in the years ahead as we talk Virginia politics. And, of course, there's never really an off year in Virginia politics as we send it back to Kurt and Sabrina, because next year, of course, the state houses will turn over. So we'll go back through all this again, but definitely at a local level.
Keep the excitement going.